Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record weekly review special for week 35 in the Gaming Decathlon competition. This week, I brought in 1,695 points, a very steady increase from where we were a week ago after resetting to a new game, Chef. We came up by nearly 300 points, but we're still well short of our best round score of 2,899. Current virtual best bounces back a little bit, almost 200 points higher at 2,409. The all-time virtual best, though, remains unchanged at 6014. Before we get into the 10 games, I'm going to start this series of breaking down how these scores are tabulated. And we begin with the one that covers 40% of all the games on the channel right now, which is Pro Cycling Manager, both 2018 and 2019. Looking at the breakdown of the score, well, it's really straightforward. So there are different scoring categories. There's World Tour, there's Continental, and then there's Super Prestige. Now, World Tour only covers the top series. Continental covers the bottom two series. But the only one that covers in triplicate all three series is Super Prestige ranking. So I use the Super Prestige to determine the score in game. And it's based off of what is possible. In career mode, a top team score at the end of the season could be something along the lines of 8 or 9,000, or if an insane season takes place, about 10,000. So if you take 10,000, you divide that by 10, you get 1,000. Of course, on the channel, that's the objective. 1,000 for each game, 10,000 overall. Comparing that, Gaming Decathlon, then to the Olympic Decathlon, which is how their scoring system works. So here, divide by 10, that gives the score. So it's the team Super Prestige points divided by 10. Now, in the Pro Cyclist mode, it works very similarly, but instead of looking at the team overall, it's, well, what is the individual rider doing? And you can definitely get a team leader accumulating roughly 50% of the overall team's total, if they're that good. So, rider Super Prestige divided by 5 will give us that potential score of 1,000, meaning it's going to take a score of 5,000. Now, one of my series just wrapped up a season this week, and Chris Froome was the highest scorer in Super Prestige. He only had slightly over 4,000. So, realistically, that would only be a score of a little over 800. It's really tough for one rider to get to 5,000. And in my 2018 series, my Pro Cyclist mode there with the Stage Racer, in the final season, we dominated number one in the rankings. But I only won one of the 3 Grand Tours, even though I went to all 3. I did take second in one. But the Tour de France was an absolute debacle. The form was not there, and we struggled just outside of the top 10. So, 1 Tour win, 1 second place isn't the best that we could have done. And we still almost, because we were dominating other races outside of that, we just about got there, but not quite. And that's the highest score I've ever had on the channel. But that target is 5,000 Super Prestige points divided by 5, and that's how you get to 1,000. Now, back into the weekly review. Breaking down the 10 games individually. We begin with, well, PCM 19, the career mode. We added 30 points this week. Pretty good week. 154 points now overall. Some of that, it could have been more, but we had some U23 races. They weren't worth the points. There's some sort of bug in game. There's supposed to be a value, but the value's wrong. And so it just ends up giving 0. And That's not right. uh, and I also made the decision that from now on, we're done with the U23 races, even though there's still a bunch on the calendar. I'm just going to quick sim them, so they're not going to be not just on camera, but I'm not even going to participate. There's no point. There's nothing to come from it. We're just done with that part of the game. And I think that's actually going to help the score, because those youth races are really slowing the pace of the season down, and we're looking to speed that up. Now, Pro Cyclist mode, Stage Racer first. Only 1 point earned this week. It was a rough one, but we're in the middle of a race. Points will come at the end. In the Classics Rider, we reached the end of our first season. We signed a new contract, and we had a lot of success, but we also had kind of a weird situation where there was some races that weren't really suited to us, and they were spread out a few weeks apart. So we flew through the end of the season. We still managed to get almost 50 points more than where we were a week ago, despite all that, despite the contract signing, despite the huge gaps, the weird races that didn't necessarily suit us. We still pulled off 133 points in our first season as a 19-year-old Continental rider. We'll be in Pro Continental next season, better team surrounding us, and look for that score to be eclipsed early mid-season. Motorsport Manager, getting better, competitive, not scoring points yet though. So hopefully we'll get points sometime this season. Could still be a few races away though. Steel Division 2, finally, an objective has been met. We gained 50 points. We're now at 150, and we're really close to getting the other objective as well. And that will put us up to 200 and into the third campaign. I'm hoping that's the case. Looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. Chef. Game came in. We're 2 weeks into that series now. No change in the score this week. That score based on the size of the restaurant that we have right now. There's a whole lot of way to get points otherwise. We're not there yet. We've got some work to do in that department. But series is off to a good start. Be sure to check that one out. My wife has joined me in that one, and it's the second time that she's joined me. Both of them have been cooking games. Overcooked was the previous series that she was on. That one didn't last long. The game had been out for... No, it was actually when it came out. But it just didn't end up being very popular. And so it didn't take off. And Chef has been in beta for a while, so it's not like some release date or anything. First episode, good outcome. Quite a few views on that. But already by the third episode, noticed only a few views. So hopefully it will take off. Hopefully it's got a chance, because I really love to see that series stick around for a while. It's got potential, and she's got potential, and I'd like to get her onto the channel more regularly. She's actually thinking about doing her own cooking channel, actual real-life cooking, and this is kind of a good introduction to that. So hopefully, if you're watching this, check out Chef and see the videos on that. Just give it a little love, give it a little support, and if it's not your thing, it's okay, you don't have to stick with it, but just, at least help get it boosted. Get a view in there, get a like in there, and see if we can't boost that up a little bit. Anyway, Draft Day Sports, college basketball. We're still at the end of the season doing off-season stuff, so we're at the same score we were a week ago, and we'll start the new season up next time. In PCM 18 career mode, we just started a new season here recently, and we're off to a very quick start score-wise. We're at 55 points already, and with just one episode a week, it might take a little while to get back up near, but I definitely think we should be able to surpass the 439 score, but not necessarily by a lot, because we were words, they escape me. We were Pro Continental last season, and we're Pro Continental again this season. The only difference is that last season we barely qualified for Pro Continental. this season we comfortably qualified for Pro Continental, but we're still shy of World Tour status. But either way, it's still making a little bit. Anyway, F1 2019 career mode. After last week, for the first time, getting into the points, but there was chaos, there was rain, and I ended up using a bunch of flashbacks, trying to navigate the crazy situation. Not a fan of using those flashbacks. Certainly not to the extent that we ended up doing so. So I didn't feel the place was justified. This week, though, we were at Silverstone, and it's crazy because in F1 2017, it was one of my worst tracks, Maggots and Beckett's. I just could not handle that rhythm section. Now, of course, at that time I was playing on a gamepad. Now I have a steering wheel. Makes a massive difference, but still. F1 2018, I was only kind of just about there, just about competitive. But now, I'm getting comfortable. I'm really hitting those rhythm sections. I'm easy on the tires. I'm easy on the fuel, and putting in good lap times. And consistently. The whole race weekend, I went off one corner once, period, total. And other than the start of the race, I had a really good race. Really good race, except the start. Got wheel spin, lost 4 or 5 spots right off the start, and then Weber shucked me off course, and ended up having to deal with that. Had a couple flashbacks in there, and then ended up like P13 a lap or two in. Fought back, got to P11, had a huge gap to P10, started covering it. When I finally put a new wing on, there was a little bit of damage, and I recovered the time lost from changing the wing. I kept the position, and I got back within a little bit. So I ended up with a huge gap behind and a minor gap in front, but I never did get back up there. So I ended up in P11, just missing out on the points, just missing out on legitimate points because the flashbacks weren't really there. They weren't really a part of the race. I mean, yes, there were a couple, but it was a good, clean race. Just got that stupid wheel spin off the line. Otherwise, probably would have finished around P9. I was only a couple positions back of that, but still. That would have been in the points, legitimately. And so I'm sad not to get there. But it was still a really good race. We're in Williams. Slow car. So to be there, to be just about there, is feeling good. A lot of season to go. Not all of the tracks are going to necessarily be good for me or for that car, but the car's getting easier to drive as I get some upgrades in there. That Williams was so difficult to drive early on. I think we're just about to that point where I can handle the car now. And so I'm starting to turn in some decent times. So hopefully from now on, every race will be competitive. Points or not, at least we'll be competitive. Finally, college football. We wrap up our 4th season, I want to say. And we had our first winning season, regular season. And we again won a bowl game, and we set a new record, 350 points. Felt so good. The recruiting, my stats, all of it just inching forward. And maybe we're on the verge of being a 10-win team next season. It'd be nice. It'd be really nice. Now, all-time virtual best, right side of the screen, go down. No change at all in that top 10. None. But outside the top 10, there's a change. College football moves from 16th up to 12th. Motorsport Manager dropping 1 position as college football moved up. And so we do have a game on the outside looking in that's not far now from cracking the top 10. However, though, looking at it a little more closely, we're kind of still a ways off, right? 350 points. That was a 9-win season with a bowl victory. Now, a 10-win season with a bowl victory, well, that's only 25 points more. an 11-win season, a 10-win regular season plus a bowl victory to go with 11. That's still only 400. 11-1 regular season with bowl victory. So a 12-win season. Still 425. Still missing the top 10. The only way that I'm going to get this one into the top 10 is to get into the football playoff. Or start playing for conference championship games, because there's points in that as well. So I need to get to a conference championship at the least to get into that position where I could crack the top 10. So playoff by itself, not going to happen. They're not going to take a team from the Mountain West into the college football playoff. We're not going to be on top 4 team in the nation unless we are 12-0 and we win our conference championship, technically then being 13-0. That's the only way we're getting in. So next step for us is to get at least into the conference championship. Not necessarily win it, but get into it. Depending on how many wins we have, adding those extra points, I think that'll get us into the top 10. But that's going to do it for this review special. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check out Chef. Be sure to check out the other games that you have not seen yet. Watch those playlists beginning to end. And definitely hit subscribe, because for the channel, for the growth, the views are good. I love it, appreciate it. The likes are good. Doing well in so many areas. What I need right now, though, is I do need to get up to 1,000 subscribers. This is still a hobby for me. I have not earned one single penny with this channel. After 1,000 subscribers, though, that can become a reality. I could actually earn a little bit of an income. Not much, but at least a little bit. Once that happens, and make this all worthwhile long term. And I'd love to keep the content coming. But I need to get to 1,000 subscribers to get there. We broke halfway. We're over 500. So let's keep it coming. Thank you, and bye.